In a world where Viltrumites can crush skulls with a sneeze and dimensions bleed into each other, how does a guy who throws exploding coins stack up? Today we're diving into and asking a surprisingly layered question. Could Rex Splode have used his powers better, gotten stronger, and maybe even survive the Invincible multiverse invasion? Is he just comic relief? Or was there untapped potential in one of the show's most underrated characters? Stick around, because the answer might just blow your mind. Let's start with the basics. Rex Splode, voiced by Jason Mantzoukas in Amazon's Invincible, is a member of the Teen Team and later the Guardians of the Globe. He's cocky, impulsive, and often the butt of the joke. But despite his flaws, he's a capable fighter who's gone toe-to-toe with some serious threats. His power, the ability to charge inorganic objects with explosive energy and make them detonate on impact. Think of it like a budget version of Gambit from the X-Men. But instead of cards, he's tossing quarters, tools, debris, and whatever he can get his hands on. But in a universe filled with super speed, flight, regeneration, and galaxy-level threats, is that enough? Spoiler alert, not even close. To understand if Rex could have survived the multiverse invasion, we first need to look at where his powers fall short. Low impact damage. His explosions are strong enough to knock enemies off balance or damage machinery, but not much more than a grenade. Against a Viltrumite, that's like throwing fireworks at Superman. No flight or speed. He's stuck on the ground in a battle where enemies are flying at supersonic speeds. Rex is basically a stationary target. No durability or regeneration. No super healing, no armor, one wrong move and he's toast. In a multiverse level invasion with alternative versions of Invincible tearing through everything, that's a death sentence. And finally, emotional volatility. Rex is emotional, brash, and often reckless. That works in street fights, but not in interdimensional war zones. Now, let's talk about the threat. In the Invincible multiverse arc, we see multiple versions of Mark Grayson, aka Invincible, colliding from across dimensions. Some are tyrants, some are broken heroes. All of them are terrifying. These variants tear through entire planets, they punch through reality, they fight Omni-Man and win. And what chance does Rex Splode have? If you look at the timeline, Rex doesn't even make it far. In multiple timelines, he dies early, sometimes off screen, sometimes brutally. But what if he didn't have to? Could Rex have improved his powers, maybe even evolved them, to survive this chaos? If Adam Eve can come back from the dead, surely our beloved ladies' man can get an upgrade. As said before, Rex's explosions are basic kinetic blasts, but what if he trained to alter the properties of the energy? In the comics and TV show, Rex's powers aren't deeply explored, which is practically a crime when his fellow experimental subject's ex-girlfriend got a whole episode about hers. But we know they come from genetic tampering and bioenhancement. That means they're potentially scalable. Similar to Powerplex, the somewhat forgettable family man who went from being able to create a nightlight to accidentally vaporizing families. Material mastering. Rex charges inorganic materials, but why stick to coins and debris? There could be some unique reactions with rare metals that he isn't aware of. If he spent less time discovering the ladies and more in research, he might have uncovered something unique. For example, what about vibranium-like metals in the Invincible universe? Alien tech scraps scavenged after battles, and super dense projectiles designed to pierce Viltrumite skin. Imagine Rex carrying a utility belt of specialized explosives, each tailored for a different threat. It would take advantage of his creativity and spontaneous nature, and finally give him a chance to be on par with everyone else on the team. Strategic mindset. One of Rex's biggest weaknesses? He fights like a brawler. People would assume he had a healing factor based on the way he enters fights. But in a multiverse war, brute force won't cut it. Strategy matters. If Rex trained under someone like Robot or Cecil, learning battlefield tactics, energy efficiency, or even espionage, he'd be far more dangerous. Rex surprisingly has a lot of fan adaptations of alternate variants who likely would have survived far longer, and some who are downright terrifying. Cyber Rex, a Rex who merges with alien tech and becomes a living weapon. Think Cyborg meets Gambit. Dark Rex, a morally compromised version who uses his powers lethally and embraces guerrilla tactics. and Leader Rex, a timeline where he becomes leader of the Guardians and uses his charisma and intelligence to outthink multiverse threats. The fact that these versions exist, even hypothetically, proves one thing. Rex's ceiling is higher than we thought. Let's say Rex survives the initial multiverse invasion. Then what? Here's a possible scenario. Act 1. Rex survives a first wave attack thanks to the new strategies, techniques, and plans developed with Robot for these situations. Being able to defeat or injure Evil Mark enough to evacuate. He's injured, traumatized, and powerless against the threat, but he refuses to sit back. Act 2. The training arc. He allies himself with interdimensional scientists or surviving Viltrumite defectors. He undergoes painful augmentation, part machine, part man. Now able to fly through the skies with his explosions, detonate complex tech, lay explosive traps across timelines, and even use quantum bombs to erase Viltrumite level threats. Act 3. The redemption arc. Rex with his newfound powers embraces his rough combat style towards suicide missions, fighting alongside Mark and Eve, making one of the most awkward trouble relationships I have ever seen, or continuing to work with the Guardians, giving them the power-up they so desperately needed. This isn't just survival, this is a redemption arc, and it would be glorious. So why the holy hell didn't Rex get this kind of arc in the main story? Well, the short answer is narrative economy. In a story as large and violent as Invincible, not every character can become a main hero. Some, like Rex, are written to ground the team, to be relatable. Flawed humans surrounded by gods, but that doesn't mean the potential wasn't there. If the show or a spin-off ever wanted to explore alternate realities, a What If Rex Splode Survived episode would not only be compelling, but also deeply tragic. Because at the core, Rex is a character who wants to be more. He wants to be useful, he wants to matter. And in the multiverse, maybe he finally does. So could Rex Splode have used his powers better? Absolutely. Could he have gotten stronger? With the right training and tech? Yes. Could he have survived the multiverse invasion? In at least one timeline, maybe even one. Let us know in the comments what kind of Rex you would have wanted to see. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss an explosive theory drop. Until next time, stay invincible.